I remember the first week I slowed down and income didn't. I hadn't planned to slow down. I was just tired. I didn't ship as much. I didn't push as hard. I didn't chase the week the way I usually did. And I was bracing for the numbers to dip. They didn't. Not dramatically up. Not dramatically down. Just steady. That was the first time I realized income wasn't fully tied to my output anymore. Before that, everything felt fragile. If I stopped producing, income would thin out. If I didn't post-pitch, follow up, or move something forward, I could almost predict the slowdown. It felt fair, linear, honest. You work, you earn. You stop it, stops. There's a strange comfort in that, because at least you know the rules. But that week felt different. A couple of things closed that had been in motion. Someone referenced something I'd created weeks earlier. A conversation progressed without me pushing it. And I had this uncomfortable realization. Maybe output wasn't the whole story anymore. The moment income detaches from output is subtle, it feels more like relief than growth. There wasn't a spike. There wasn't a breakthrough. There was just less pressure. Less of that feeling that every single day had to carry its own weight. And that's when I started noticing something else. Earlier on, output evaporated. I would create something. It would get attention. It would convert or not convert. And then it would disappear. I'd have to create again to restart the process. It was like earning from scratch every week. But now, some of what I'd built was still working, still shaping decisions, still influencing conversations, still creating trust. I wasn't re-earning everything from zero. Income detaches from output when your work stops disappearing after you finish it. That's the shift. It's not about working less. It's about your work persisting. And persistence changes how income behaves. When output evaporates, you live short-term. You think in days, maybe weeks. But when output lingers, your thinking stretches. You start noticing that some effort leaves a footprint. Some doesn't. Some work feels heavy but temporary. Some work feels quiet but durable. I didn't see that clearly at first. I kept chasing volume because volume felt productive. I assumed more output meant more income. But I started noticing that certain pieces, certain structures, certain positioning decisions kept paying quietly. Not explosively, just steadily. And steady is underrated. When income detaches from output, urgency starts losing its grip. That doesn't mean you stop working. It means the panic fades. You don't feel like every single day determines survival. There's breathing room, and breathing room changes how you think. Instead of asking, "What do I need to ship today to keep income alive?" you start asking, "What can I build that continues influencing income next month?" That question hits differently because it forces you to look at durability. I remember catching myself one week. I had two choices: produce something quick that would generate immediate attention, or refine something foundational that wouldn't pay instantly but would stabilize the system. Earlier, I would have chosen speed. This time, I chose durability. And weeks later, I felt the difference. The numbers didn't spike. They stabilized. And stability is where detachment strengthens. Output creates income. Persistence sustains it. That distinction took me longer to understand than I'd like to admit. Because we're rewarded socially for output. People see activity. They see hustle. They see motion. They don't see structure. They don't see positioning adjustments. They don't see clarity refinements. They don't see friction removal. But those are the things that make output linger. And lingering output is what slowly untethers income from daily effort. The first time I felt that shift, it was quiet. I didn't announce it. I didn't even fully trust it. It felt fragile. Like if I stopped reinforcing it, it would snap back. And that's the thing. Detachment isn't permanent by default. If you neglect structure, income reattaches to output quickly. And going backward feels suffocating once you've tasted detachment. Because then you know what's possible. You've felt income move without constant pushing. You've experienced a week where you didn't grind and didn't collapse. That's powerful. The real shift isn't earning more. It's realizing income can move without you forcing it every day. Once that lands, you stop obsessing over volume. You start paying attention to what embeds, what stays visible, what continues converting, what accumulates trust. You begin designing for persistence instead of applause. And that's when income starts behaving differently. Less reactive, less fragile, less dependent on how intense your week was. It doesn't mean you've arrived. It means you've crossed a line. From earning purely through output to earning through what your output leaves behind. And once you feel that, you can't go back to measuring your days only by how much you produced. You start measuring them by what will still be working long after today is over.